All right, let's just dive on in, shall we? Decks like this in a faithless looting world, I would have steered away from because they just weren't very good. That being said, especially online, there's been a lot of people playing a lot of more grindy mid-range things. So we are going to hopefully have an okay time with this. A little bit of graveyard hate in the sideboard to keep up with because Dredge is still around. Actually played against that deck twice in the Modern event on Saturday. But I think overall this deck's probably going to be pretty reasonable against like the Stoneforge Mystic decks and Jund and this 5-color Bring to Niv thing that's been going around. In fact, I think it's probably pretty good against the 5-color Bring to Niv decks. We've got both Force of Negation and Cryptic Command. And counter spells are very good in that matchup because the opponent's archetype, that archetype doesn't have that many key spells that you have to keep off the table. Hey, Ransack, thanks for the 6-month support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. We've been playing in the M20 queue. You mean the queue full of decks that are not rotating? I have no plans to play that. No. $31 months. We notice you all the time, Bulletproof. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, pretty much, as long as my deck queue has decks in it, I don't have any intention of veering outside of our normal formats too much. If the standard queue dries up completely, maybe we'll explore other options, but generally speaking, content that has a shelf life tends to not be super successful. And like Morning Piggy. Yeah, I'm sorry. You've timed people out before. I tapped the wrong button yesterday. Yep. Have a sword. I do intend to take at least half a dozen Brawl decks or so to get a feel for how popular or not that format's going to be. And my intention is all formats on Magic Arena will just be $10 to start. The only reason Magic Online formats have a premium is because they require me to wager money to play them. Gemstone Mine could be a couple of things. Probably Neoform, huh? Which means this Force of Negation is going to be good. Hopefully. Yep. Hey, Roth, congrats. Yeah, playing Brawl was fun. Yeah, but like me having fun doesn't dictate the popularity of content, Prince Day. Yay, Magic. So for those not familiar with my opponent's deck, they Neoform or Eldritch Evolution Allosaurus Rider into a Gristlebrand and then kill you. And frequently they cannot beat a counterspell. So we had a counterspell and then they conceded. For incredibly interesting and engaging games of Magic the Gathering. Alright, so we want these discard spells. Ashiok stops them from searching their library, which is great. Vendilion Cliques, a little bit of disruption. Dead of Winter doesn't seem particularly good. Gosh, there's Blood Moons in the sideboard of this deck. That's wild. The person who sent me this sent me a sideboard guide. Let's see if they have Neo Brand on it. Deck's been kind of popular. It's not. That's fine. We can wing it. We are a trained professional. Wrenn and Stimpy's probably worth leaving in. Wrenn and Stimpy versus Trophy is a real question, because like sometimes you could trophy their Gristlebrand. Bring in the Surgical over the last Wrenn and Stimpy. We can like discard spell Allosaurus Rider and Surgical if they lose the game. Yeah, I agree, Misfits. The Introducing the pre-constructed Brawl decks was good for two reasons. The first was it drums up some initial interest in the format because you give people a free sample. And second is we're currently at a point in the cycle where Standard and thus Arena in its current state is like at an all-time low for popularity. So having something to drum that up is really, really important and valuable. I think I'm just mulliganing for a Force here. A Force or a Spell Snare, basically. Or a Thoughtseize. Yeah, like, this hand's not good, but it's definitely a keep, right? Do I want to keep this Blood Moon? Is it crazy to keep this Blood Moon? It's probably crazy to keep this Blood Moon. You want to send back both Jaces. That's an interesting thought. Maybe that's right. Thanks for the half-a-year grief. Welcome back. Mr. Stimpy. We are far off of casting. So what's our best draw? I want to draw like Astrolabe next turn into... I want to draw Astrolabe into another land. Vaka! Thank you for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Yeah, my buddies who have been working on that archetype, Shaka, have been playing a Viridian Longbow at it. I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of the Devoted archetype in general. It's obviously very good. It's tedious to click through on Magic Online. And I don't think it's good enough to be worth playing if you don't love it. This is the part where Laboratory Maniac, sure. Okie doke. I think I want Breeding Pool here. I don't have a Stomping Ground, so I guess we're doing that. Lets me cast the Ice-Fang next turn. I'm gonna try and just Ambush Viper this. If they have a win condition outside of just like attacking with an 8/8. If this thing's gone. Maybe I'm supposed to fetch Basic Forest there. It's possible I'm supposed to fetch Basic Forest there. Want to name you in? We're doing all right this morning. Opponents on the Grey Ogre beats playing this game. Morning, Dead of Night. Don't worry, when the new set drops at the end of the month, we'll be having some all standard days for sure. All right, here's hoping if they don't go to combo here, maybe they're gonna like try and beat us down. They have 2 cards left, so if they have Counterspell plus Eldritch Evolution or Counterspell plus Neoform, we are dead. Maybe I'm supposed to alt cast this so I don't get Spell Pierced. Yeah, I just have Veil of Summer. Usually, I don't think it's worth playing around Spell Pierce here, because generally speaking, these decks play Veil of Summer as their interaction. I guess there's upside to if I alt cast this, I could flash this in and hit a Spell Snare or another Force of Negation. Maybe that's the line. Untap land, please. Untap land, please. I mean, we killed their Lab Maniacs. They might actually not be able to combo kill from here. I just drew a bunch of cards. Yikes. Alright, I guess we just pass. Ice-Fang has Death Touch now, though, which is nice. Yeah. Yeah, we got back to the gated. Okie doke. So this is a free counterspell. They have to pay 5 mana at the beginning of their next turn. So, do they have a combo kill here then? They must, right? Because, like, they cast another pact. Because they lose to their pacts next turn. Alright, let's wait and see what their other win con is. Oh, they had Noxious Revival. Okay, that makes sense. Got it. Get it, got it, good. Yeah, Weekend was alright. Did some streaming. We took a hike yesterday afternoon with the kids. Actually really surprised that both of them did almost 2 miles. With minimal complaint. Getting them outside on occasion is good. What's outside? Asking the real questions. This hand probably isn't good enough, right? Like, Blood Moon turn 3 is probably too slow. Is it? Is it too slow? I'm gonna try and keep this. On the play, this might be fast enough. And, like, they have so many Pact of Negations and Veil of Summers that, like, there's no guarantee that, like, having a counterspell stops them from killing us early. So, like, Blood Moon plus Surgical, I think, is keepable here. Also get to cycle this Lonely Sandbar. It's so weird playing against a deck that's basically Belcher in this format. Usually it's not the experience you want. Alright, do you have the turn 2? You do not. Alright, sweet. check out some of our options here. I'm going to cast Op before I use the fetch land. Because, like, if this Op, for instance, finds an Astrolabe, I can now fetch another island and opt again here. Because the Astrolabe is going to provide all the filtering I need. Perfect. Alright, well, this hand came together. Well, most of the filtering I need. This is my 4-color Blood Moon deck. How's your day going? Are we having fun yet, opponent? I guess their deck does tend to contain Manamorphose, huh? He says as his opponent casts Manamorphose. This does keep them from, what's it calling me, right? It keeps them from, I'm blanking on the word. It keeps them from, like, counterspelling me back, right? Yeah, we've not played this archetype before, Mathematic. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and Surgical the Manamorphose here. I think if I take these away, the Blood Moon just becomes a lot more effective. Now, I don't want to draw step it, because they'll be able to cast it during their draw step, and then it just replaces itself, so... I don't want them to be able to, like, draw step, play a Manamorphose, and, like, cycle Veil of Summers. So there's no real upside to try and take an instant out of their hand during their draw step. And then there is potential downside. Is my opponent, like, sitting here thinking about, do they actually want to play this game out? Yeah, it is. Alright. Next. Yeah, they'd probably have to, like, who knows if they actually have a basic island or not. Like, they have a basic forest, we saw that, but there's a chance they don't have a basic island. Or don't have 2 basic forests, so they just can't cast spells with the Blood Moon out. Yeah, Astrolabe's a really weird card. I think Blood Moon's awful. I think cards like Blood Moon and Ensnaring Bridge have no place in Reasonable Magic. Gameplay more than anything. I don't actually think those cards are that good in terms of power level. They just... Cards like Blood Moon and Ensnaring Bridge, even when they're not good, they feel a lot better than they actually are because they generate those gotcha moments. They generate games where they win the game on the spot, so that, like, balances out for you mentally all the times where, like, they effectively don't do anything. Blood Moon punishing greedy mana bases is one of the absolute best pieces of nonsense that the Blood Moon lobbyists have pushed for years and years and years. Look at the average mana base in Modern. For even as someone who's frequently been Blood Mooned out of the game by 2-color decks, the idea that Blood Moon simply punishes greedy mana bases is idiotic. Because it's just not true. It's an opinion that's based on feelings and not facts in the slightest. Blood Moon punishes people who are unlucky. That's what Blood Moon does. Blood Moon randomly gets people who haven't been fortunate enough to randomly draw their basics or couldn't draw their fetch lands in the first 2 turns of the game. Alright, so I need a forest still, so I think I'm going to throw back these 2. We'll redraw the Creeping Tar Pit next turn, and then we'll get to Prismatic Vista out a forest. What's up, dude? You want a gummy candy? Okay, you can have one. Yeah, just only play basics, right? Alright, War of Invention for 2. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and force this. Oh, this is at my end of turn. Duh. V-Ball! Thank you for the 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, I agree, Prince Day. Completely agree. Yep. I guess I could force that one. Or we could force that one. Look at that. Look at that. They were baiting us, chat. They were baiting us. If we would have forced the Galv Blast, they'd have comboed us. Well, yeah, force exiling. Alright, so I hate to, like, make you discard, make you shatter. And then, like, this is a phenomenal example of, like, why the opponent's deck is just basically impossible to beat for anything fair. They, like, we stopped them from comboing us, and we interacted with them, but, like, now I lose to this 5/5, and I lose to them just making Thopters. Like, I answered both their combo pieces, and now, like, plan C kicks in. Like, the opponent's deck is, like, good in a way that Splinter Twin could only ever dream of being good. This matchup feels incredibly hopeless from the side of anything playing fair and interactive in this format, in my experience. Just, I played so many different fair interactive decks this matchup, and every single one of them is just, like, I can never win. Like, not only can I, like, not beat this board, but, like, they're just gonna, like, sit here and, like, draw 3 or 4 cards. So, like, this thing just generates endless card advantage for them, too, in addition to, like, providing a ton of pressure that I can't beat either. Hey, would you look at that? I came back and we died. Weird. Dr. Jack, thanks for the half a year. I appreciate it. Welcome. All right, Urza's in the sideboard guide. Let's follow along here, shall we? Just so my position is abundantly clear. The problem with the Urza deck is likely Mox Opal. I think if the Urza deck is just like half a cycle slower, it's probably fine. So 2 Thoughtseize, a Trophy, a Surgical, a Vendilion Clique. And, like, I'm aware that that game we just played didn't really involve Mox Opal. Like, they played it at the very end. But I think at the core, Mox Opal is the biggest offending card in the opponent's archetype. As has been the case for a long time with many decks. Mox is over 100 because it's a 4 of in Urza, which is arguably the second best deck in the format, just behind Burn. And I think Urza has better matchups in some places than Burn does. Well, yeah, Panza, it's the age-old question, like, do you want to make the opponent's archetype worse, or do you want to kill it altogether, right? Are we banning Deceiver Exarch, or are we banning Splinter Twin? Like, is the fundamental question. And in my opinion, the correct answer is to ban Deceiver Exarch, or in this case, Mox Opal. I wanna ban Faithless Looting. I don't wanna ban, Prized Amalgam. I wanna ban Ancient Stirrings. I don't wanna ban Urza's Tower. I wanna ban the enablers to take the decks that are 12s and dial them back to, like, I don't know, let's say 10s or 11s. Dial them back to, 8s or 9s like we did by banning Faithless Looting decks. I'd rather not kill archetypes. I'd rather just take the archetypes that are too good and just make them a bit weaker around the edges. Drop that in tapped. I want to ban. I'm sure there are a lot of, you are not alone. There are a lot of people out there who would just straight up be like, nah, let's get Urza's Tower out of here. For the record, I think having a certain number of decks like Urzatron in the format are good, because you also don't want your formats to just become mid-range arms races. You want things like Burn and like Valakut and like Tron to be around the edges, so that way people have to have some amount of respect for those types of things in the format. Things like Ancient Stirrings just make it difficult to play through, because cards like Ancient Stirrings make your disruption much worse because they reassemble just that much faster. So, cutting a card like Ancient Stirrings out of Tron makes your interaction against Tron significantly better. They already have Thopter Foundry in place, so I think I'm going to bottom the snap here. Sorry about that. Normally my wife and youngest son are out of the house already. We had a bit of a late start this morning. Yeah, no worries, Paula. It's actually kind of funny to me. Like, people, like, there's a lot of people that are like, you just shouldn't address people like this. You should just, like, ignore it or, like, take their crap lying down. And, like, I think a lot of people, when they've never experienced, like, an endless stream of hostility, it's much easier for them in the abstract to be like, well, you should just never stand up for yourself. I also think that, like, there's a certain number of people who, like, that culture of people being like, deck's bad and not saying anything else. Like, I think that's a big part of Magic culture in general. So, like, talking about how that's not something that's okay or welcome, I think is important, because it gives people an important perspective of, this is not something that's acceptable in this community. And I think there's some people that will respond reasonably to that, and there's plenty of people who aren't as well, but I also think you just shouldn't, like, write off everyone. You should give people a chance to change and grow. when they exhibit undesirable behavior. So I kind of want to just like K-Command. So I attacked first because if they blocked my Snapcaster Mage, I could K-Command it back. But I think my plan here now is just like Shatter, discard. And then we'll Surgical these Thopter Foundries. Nice, Mixmaster. Yeah, the Lego games are good. I think the villains, and we have like 3 or 4 of them, and villains, DC villains and Lego Incredibles are their 2 favorites for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and Surgical now, so that way they can't whir for another one in response. Hey, Scott, thank you for the very generous tier 2 resub. I appreciate the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I don't know how we ever beat this Tezzeret in a million years. I guess that's not true. I have Creeping Tar Pit. Oh, they have Galv Blast though. They have another Tezzeret. They have 4 Urzas, a couple of swords. Hey, Jake Garlic, thank you for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for putting your Bezo bucks this way this month and keeping me around. Have a good one, Blitz. Catch you later. So this makes something a 5/5 permanently. This is a little scary. So the last card is Galv Blast here. Okay, yep. That's about as clean as answers get, right? So, Shatter you, Shock you. Modal cards are great. So we're technically at parity, right? Like I have Creeping Tar Pit left over, but they have a Galvanic Blast in hand to kill it. Perfect, Midnight. I appreciate that. As a general note for folks, if you're someone that likes to support my content with your Prime, I do appreciate all of y'all. And my live schedule doesn't line up with what you're able to watch. You are able to Prime sub when I'm offline too, if that's more convenient for folks. This one of Vraska Golgari Queen's kind of sweet, and like gives you something to turn these labs into later on. Important Magic rules note here. My opponent, even though this comes into play with 4 loyalty, so after a spell resolves, the active player regains priority immediately. So putting 2 counters on this is part of the activation cost. So there's never a window where my opponent can Galv Blast my Vraska before she gains counters. I guess they also don't have a 3rd artifact, so that's also irrelevant. But worth noting, if they had Metalcraft, they did not have the option to kill this. So another Astrolabe to feed her next turn. Vraska is hungry. That's rude. I was excited to draw this Cryptic Command, chat. Now I am less excited. They draw Urza. They drew a Whir. Okay. Getting a Spyglass or a Pithing Needle here. It smells like Pithing Needle. Yep. Her last card is Galv Blast still. If we draw Thoughtseize, we kill them relatively quickly with a Creeping Tar Pit. We got that going for us. So they don't have that many non-creature spells I really care about here, so trading Force of Negation for this Galv Blast to kill them pretty quickly seems fine. Like, most of the big plays at this point are Urza, which Force of Negation doesn't counter anyways. They have one more copy of Tezzeret, but even if they draw that, like, Creeping Tar Pit kills him. But, like, they get a 5/5 out of it, but I think that still comes out ahead for us. Oh. Oh, is that one? Is that one good, chat? What if I pick the Snapcaster Mage back up and shatter your Pithing Needle? How would that make you feel? Would it make you feel sad on the inside? I feel happy. Do 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 beep beep do 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 do. Yeah, I think their board plan seems fine. Yeah, let's just run it back. Hey, C4, 13 months of lurking on YouTube, catching a live one because my car died and working from home, and Twitch ISP is at bad tier. Well, I appreciate the over a year of support. Let's get you a sword just in case you're ever in chat and it lines up okay. I'm glad you enjoy the YouTube stuff. Where do we get this list from? Like most of the decks we play here, this is a viewer-submitted deck list. And if you want a sideboard guide for this deck list, if you're watching this on YouTube in the future, I'm going to link the one that was provided to me down below in the video description. For those of you that are here now, there is a sideboard guide that's linked in the deck queue in the notes column. Do you know how Adventure cards and Snapcaster Mage will interact? We don't, I don't think. That's a good question, actually. So I don't actually, so I paused on that, Polly. I actually think Dead of Winter is better than Plague Engineer here because killing Urza and the token is pretty important. Yeah, Astrolabe's like heck of fixing. Am I supposed to keep this? Did they explicitly say how it interacts with things like Snapcaster Mage, though? There are creatures everywhere except on the stack. Okay, so you can't Snapcaster them back, is what you're saying? That's what you're saying. This hand seems great. So kind of a question of I think I'm supposed to throw back Trophy here because I have Thoughtseize and Snare. I think that's the line. I went 5 and 4. 5 and 4, yeah. The deck was really sweet though. The 4-color Saheeli deck's the most fun I've had playing Modern in a long time. It's been a while since I like finished Medium in a Modern tournament and like didn't just like hate my deck afterwards. The style of gameplay that the creature combo decks produce is fun. It's the type of Magic I enjoy playing. I guess we'll just let this happen. Yep, there's the 4th land for Jace for later. This is the first game of this set. No, this is game 3. We're currently 1-1. Ice-Fang Coatl. Sign me up. Tron decks have started adding Weather the Storm. Yeah, Weather the Storm seems great. Just a good clean gain 6. You can see that. We're looking for extra burn hate cards in my Saheeli sideboard. I can see that one being okay. Added a Burrington Forge Tender for now. And Forge Tender could be. Yep, that's an Urza. Alright, let's do this. Cryptic Command. If only we had been on the play, chat. If only. Oh crap, they know about this Jace, right? That's unfortunate. The plan was going to be Jace unsummon this construct, but that's no longer a legal play. Hey, Immortal Echoes, thank you for the 41 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Baby? No. 4-year-old having a hard day. Generally, him and Christy leave before I go live in the mornings, but she's running a little late this morning. Yeah, same difference. Listen, when you're 4, every bad thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing in your life because you haven't had that long of a life to have truly bad things happen to you. Yeah, I think that's fine, right? Because we can clean that up with Dead of Winter here, hopefully. I think my plan at the moment is to, like, end step Cryptic bounce this Urza. Does that even make sense? Probably not. Maybe we end step, like, Cryptic bounce draw the Pithing Needle so I can untap and Jace unsummon the construct. Yeah, I'm gonna go to 14. They know about this Spell Snare. Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas, has entered the exile. Yep. Did my opponent play a land for the turn already? Yeah, they played Polluted Delta. I counter this, bounce this. Hello, tiny child. Our mana base here is kind of biting us. If I... You need to go upstairs. Mommy will help you.
No, I won't.
So our mana base is kind of getting us here. If I had a second black source, I could Dead of Winter plus Fatal Push. So I think the line here is actually just Jace Storm. And I'm not going to be able to hold up. That's super unfortunate. We just didn't find a black source either. I guess we're one... I guess I'm one, this gives Death Touch, and I'm one snow permanent away from this cleaning up everything. We kill their stuff next turn. Kinda, right? Like, this is an X4. Oh, or I'm just dead, right? Because they have Sword here. I don't know Spell Snare anymore. Yeah, like I said, the Urza deck just hits from so many axes of attack. Like, we were kind of lucky and had, like, our 1-out Surgical last game. And another part of the issue is that, like, not only... It's exactly like how Splinter Twin used to play out, only they're more flexible, right? Like, their fair backup plan of just making Thopters is so much better than Splinter Twin's fair backup plan of attacking with creatures ever could dream of being. Yeah, they have the fair backup plan of just, like, paying 5 and drawing a card every turn, too. Two different fair backup plans. I mean, how did we kill Urza, Enya? I didn't have a play that let me kill Urza. I didn't have a way to enable revolt for the fatal push. I didn't have a fetch land. Oh, you're saying when I cryptic commanded, I fetch for the cryptic, right? Is that the case? Hey, Joe Diodato, thank you for the tip. I appreciate it. Get that added to deck queue after we're done today. I think it's probably still too good, even without Mox Opal, which is a big reason to ban Mox Opal. Like, when your best deck's still probably one of the best decks without getting to do everything a turn sooner, you could probably just, like, stop letting it do everything a turn sooner. There's a lot of matches in the format where this hand is unkeepable, but we're on the play, so let's give it a shot here. There's also a lot of matches in the format where this hand is excellent, so...
Can I see?
Sure.
Well, I can't really see.
Christy wants to know if her dress is trippy on the camera. No,
Can
it's
you make
fine.
it bigger?
Can I make it bigger? You're fine.
Oh, it's trippy just looking at it.
I think the lines are too close together to really show up. Hallowed Fountain Serum Vision probably means our grip full of commands is going to be good.
Zach and I are leaving. You want the store open or closed?
Open, please. Love you. What's our record? Are we 1-1? We're 1-1. We beat Neil Schulbrand game 1 or match 1. This is probably fetching Breeding Pool. And we have all our colors. Yeah, bring on the Jeskai. These are exactly the style of mid-range decks that this deck is like. A lot of these decks, like the 5-color Bring to Niv and this deck and so many others, they feel like Tron-less Tron. They're just like these decks that are just like kind of bad against really good aggressive decks, but like just devour these mid-range decks in a way that makes them pretty helpless. Yep. And then I think I'm actually gonna like end step shock, make them discard a card here. Because like shocking this is technically like denying them a card draw, right? And then next turn we'll be able to just Cryptic Command to every Hero of Hearthstone. And Narset only denies extra draws on our turn. Or one extra draw per turn. So that means like we can still counter draw and draw cards. We can draw one card on their turn too. Yeah, Narset does tend to imply that they're a more controlling build. They probably still have Stoneforge Mystic. But, like, probably not, like, the Giver Geist to Saint Traff variation. Man, are we about to get Spell Pierced? I think we're about to get Spell Pierced. Wow. Didn't get Spell Pierced. The old shock to bluff the Pierce. Don't want to opt right now because it doesn't draw a card currently because of Narset. He could have Vendilion Clique. Clique, the potential for Clique's a reason to take this Narset off the table, because Clique just becomes Thoughtseize while Narset's out, which is pretty good. Might be right to like Snapcaster Command at the end of their turn, just like discard shock this and finish her off. They want to sculpt our minds, chat. They want to sculpt our minds. So do I Cryptic from hand, or do I snap Cryptic? I feel like I want to snap Cryptic. Get this boy down. Why is Clique so powerful if the player has a redraw? It's powerful because giving them a random card off the top of their deck is, generally speaking, worse than them keeping the best card in their hand. So, like, your Magic decks have a bunch of lands in them, right? So, like, there's a good chance that you're giving your opponent a blank a lot of the time when you click them, right? Just by the probabilities. Let's actually do this now, before they untap and have counterspells up. Yep, applying pressure is good too, but the fact that like you're just replacing their, like, its actual effect is pretty reasonable too. The body is obviously a big part of every creature, but was there any incentive to counter the snare so we could... So countering the snare means if they have a second snare, we end up pretty sad. And I think it's important that I keep the Jace off the table. No, you answer your question. Our win condition is creatures and planeswalkers, like most control decks. No, it's a good question, Crafted. It's just like the potential, basically that the answer is like the potential downside is just like not worth the potential upside in my mind. Have a Cryptic of their own. Yeah. All right, well. I'm going to Fate Seal myself here, or Scry one to start, because I don't want... I would love a Snapcaster. I don't want this Jace to die to a Lightning Bolt or a Lightning Helix. I left up red-black here because I want Fatal Push for the Celestial Colonnade. They also have a Narset in play. So, like, Brainstorming while they have a Narset in play is also exceptionally bad. Even without the Narset being in play, though, it is very correct to 2+ is the point. All right, so oh, I should have left red up here, right? So I could bolt. Yeah, I should have left a red up here. Ever since you made the point of Brainstorm being completely reasonable at Pauper, the idea of an instant historic has my mouth watering. Yeah. Yeah. Context. Context is key. Magic words to live by. Context is key. Alright. Most importantly, so we're winning by most metrics in this game, but an important metric that we're also winning by, in addition to cards in hand and board presence, is that we're also up on clock, which could be relevant to these control mirrors. Your Colonnade tripped, I think. Taking Narset off the table here just to make any Vendilion Cliques they draw slightly worse. It also makes any Jaces we draw slightly better. Makes our Ops marginally better. Makes our Ice-Fangs marginally better. Yeah, I think we're pretty far into garbage time at this point. Opponent concurs. That's my all-time favorite deck. I mean, definitely Kiki Cord. I was actually thinking about it at this current point in time. Maybe Kiki Cord's a deck I could try playing again. Maybe I could dream. Can I dream? Can I dream a little dream? Maybe I can play that deck again? Because Voice of Resurgence is playable. If voice is playable, can I play Kiki Cord? What stopped it from being playable in the past? Well, you see, when modern is about brutal efficiency, so registering slow clunky cards means you're gonna die a lot of the time. Just take a picture of the curve. Yeah, that's a good way to talk about it. What are my cuts here? I probably want some fatal pushes for... Nah, I probably don't. I have blood boons to deal with the colonnades. I have trophies as well. Catch you later, Quinner. Our Golgari Queen's not very good. I guess she kills Teferi, Little Teferi, and Little Narset. That's probably good enough. I'll trim an Ice-Fang. It draws a card, but otherwise isn't very good. I guess this is a soft answer to Colonnade as well. So, like, you could build Kiki Cord in a way where its curve isn't completely embarrassing. You play, like... I was thinking about this last night, believe it or not. You can play, like, your birds, and then you can play, like, 12 2-drops. You play 4 Wall of Roots, 4 Wall of Blossoms, 4 Voice of Resurgence. And then Season Pyromancer is good in that deck, just like it's good in, Season Pyro would be good in that deck, just like it's good in the other deck we've been playing. Thanks for the 18 months, Dax. I appreciate it. Welcome back. The forest here is a sweet draw, because it means this can get island, this can get swamp, and then we have all of our colors for Blood Moon. Get aggressive here with our snack. A snake, a snake. Oh, it's a snake. I mean, that meme's almost as old as the internet. Memes the kids today will never understand. Yes, they just won't know, chat. They just won't know. Gideon, ally of Zendikar. Yep, Chad's here. So I think the plan here is trophy this, untap, Jace, unsummon the knight. I will have you know, Burgle, that I am smack dab in the middle of the average age of Hoaglandians. Thank you very much. I've got estimated viewer metrics from YouTube. The opponent has exerted their Force of Negation. Yikes. Papa Teferi is here, and he's very angry. He's very upset with us. I am the ripe old age of 28, for those who are not familiar. Have we died? I feel like we've died. Don't have kids, you age in Sith years. Basically. If we hit a Snapcaster Mage or a trophy, we can take their Teferi out, and they don't have that many cards at this point, right? Fifteen's a little bit outside of the average dead date. Yeah. It's actually been a while since I've looked at my YouTube metrics. What is it? I think 20, like the 25 to 34 was my biggest estimated. Well, let's take your Dovin's veto. Analytics. Audience. Yeah, 20. YouTube estimates that 57% of my audience is in the 25 to 34 range. And then 18 to 24 and 35 to 44 are similar spreads, like 23% and 15%. I think we're going to give it one more turn here. Old creepy boy can get on down. Have a majority. I assume the YouTube metrics are pretty accurate because Google probably knows more about most of us than we know about ourselves. Let's be honest. Let's do this. Try and take a peekaboo here. Stop reminding me about our Google overlords. Yep. Deal. I would like to put your Jace on the bottom now, please. This is a good example of Vendilion Clique, right? Like, oh, yikes. Well, I guess we're actually taking Snapcaster Mage. Oh, no. Astrolabe. Alright, I guess we gotta give Narset... I guess we gotta put Narset out to pasture here. No joke, Burgle. This probably is the best cantrip in Modern. Wow, that's rude. Holy crap. At the end of the day, you aren't old unless you have more friends at Ancestry.com than Facebook. Oh, Facebook. I finally got annoyed enough at reading bad 2020 takes from boomer relatives that I disabled my Facebook the other day. I was just like, this is not worth my time or mental energy. It's just like, let's just click this off. How else will we get our misinformation? Yep. I guess this is a keep. Yeah, Facebook actually gives you the option to disable your Facebook account, but still use the Messenger feature. Yeah, hand sucks keep is definitely the descriptor for what this hand is. Yeah, do you see the GOP is canceling primaries in some states? What a pro-democracy party. Rad for life forever. Thanks for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Friendster. I don't even know what that is. What is a Friendster? Is that like a MySpace? I was under the impression, and someone can cite a source to correct me if I'm wrong, but were there Democrats that wanted to primary Obama in 2012? So I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really paying attention to politics then. Mostly had my head in the sand. So if there were people who wanted to run and the Democrats canceled primaries, I think that was wrong. But if there weren't other people that wanted to run, then canceling them makes sense. But in this case, the Republican Party is canceling their primaries while other people want to run, which is wrong and anti-democratic. This is the part where a boomer pushes up their glasses and go, "Actually, Jeff, we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic, Jeff." In 2004, 10 states. Okay, have the Democrats ever done it? Because that was, again, it was wrong. It's wrong no matter who does it. And that's a big part of the issue with the politics we have today, is a lot of people are like, well, if one side did it, then it's correct for it's fine for the other side to do it. It's like that's not how this works. Wrong is wrong is wrong. Thoughtseize is a good draw here. You get to snap Thoughtseize here as well. So 10 out of 10 taking Jace, the Wallet Sculptor. I just take Teferi as well. Yeah, the Democrats colluded against Bernie. And it was wrong, and people got very upset, and now super delegates are handled in a very different way. As a result. Because what they did in 2016 was wrong. Have a good one, Dead Knight. So I have this snare for the Snapcaster Mage, but they know about the snare, so they might just deploy the Snapcaster Mage while I'm tapped out here. So is there, and I have Creepy Boy to kill this too. I think I'm gonna take the snap. The snare will be live later, and I don't really want them to get the snap on board here, I don't think. Yeah, bad thing was bad. Changes were made to disallow the bad thing, also known as progress. Yep. Yep. Morning, Red Link. Thanks for the tier 2. I appreciate it. Yeah. For tier 2, just a good comment for tier 2s and tier 3s in general. If you're not quite sure what you want to put your bonus to for this month, you are welcome to wait until we get some stuff out for the new set. All right. Well, I think that makes this decision easy, right? We just do this. Pro is the opposite of con, so what's the opposite of progress? Congress. Oh, Moscow Mitch. Oh, Moscow Mitch. Narset. Let's do this in response, just in case I hit another cantrip. Hey, look at that. I hit another cantrip. This gives them a window to play a 2-drop through the Spell Snare, but there probably aren't a lot of 2-drops that are non-creatures in their deck. So they have a Bolt that we know about, which makes Creepy Boy not be able to kill Narset, but the rest of my squad can get in there. They went top with their Serum Visions. That's terrifying. Snapcaster Mage of my own, you say? I heard about Moscow Mitch. Any way you can give it TLDR. So, Mitch McConnell is currently the Republican majority leader in Congress. And for whatever reason, the really wonderfully elegant way in which the United States Congress is structured, the person who's the majority leader can basically choose to just not bring the Senate to a vote on things. So they're basically just not doing anything. And stomping down bills of everything from universal background checks on better gun control to things that, like, would provide better election security to keep the Russians from meddling again in 2020. Yep. And the Moscow Mitch part, in addition to him shooting down election security bills, his state of Kentucky also has taken has had a significant amount of money invested into it from people in Russia. We're trophying this in response here, because we don't want to give them... Can't I Spell Snare their negate, chat? Why can't I Spell Snare their negate? He called... I believe there's a quote of McConnell calling paper ballots a partisan issue. And that's one of those things where, like, anybody with a brain should stop and think about that and go, that's not true, that's not okay. If they don't have a removal spell here, we get to kill Teferi with an attack, which is nice. I think it's better to kill Teferi than to try and jam Jace the Mind Sculptor there. I just want to keep their card advantage off the table, especially when they have this Celestial Colonnade in play that could attack my Jace down. Ashiok, Dream Renderer, deal. They put one card on top with their Serum Visions. I can hardly wait to play with my sweet new artifacts and enchantments and Alundra. Yeah, not to mention, I wonder if, hopefully Karn the Great Creator is just not standard playable. Because if that card's standard playable, things get a lot less exciting with all the artifacts and stuff. Huh. I don't even want to cast that at this point, right? Because it turns off, like, they fetch a basic planes, then it turns off my Cryptic Command. I think we're just, like, in a holding pattern for the time being. Yeah, you fetch those shock lands. Yeah, once we're gonna fire off this Cryptic on like the first opportunity, basically. And once we do that, we'll just Blood Moon them. Yes, that's true too. McConnell also took money from voting machine lobbyists before. Before shooting down that bill. I feel like taking the money out of politics is one of those things that, like, people on both sides profess to believe in pretty heavily. And the really big disconnect in my mind is that people on the Republican side don't seem to get that, like, no one on the Republican side is rejecting that big corporate money, and there are a number of people on the Democratic side who are. Because yeah, all those Democrats who are taking big corporate money, they should probably be out too. But there are a number of people like the Justice Democrats who are actually doing something different and not taking that money. All sides are not equal. All right, so now we get to jam ye old Blood Moon. I floated extra blue there so I could cast Jace after. Again, going to plus Jace to start. No, Vraska sounds great, actually. Let's turn some of these extra lands into something useful. I just guaranteed kill the Teferi here. So the Spell Snare is alive. So if they have a Bolt, I don't want them to keep the Teferi alive. Another Ashiok, sure. We are down to 23 cards in our deck, I suppose. Motionless Potato, thank you for the 18 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Opponent's had enough. First Jace activation. Nah, I'm tapping out. You got it. Believe it or not, I'm enjoying the dirtily fair magic, so we're gonna finish this league, even though it's running a little long. I'm gonna grab a snack, though, before this next match. And just my last, I'd like to move off of the McConnell topic, but just as my last factual comment on it before we move on, something that I think is important to remember that I've heard from other people is they're like, well, my Republican representative isn't Mitch McConnell, and he doesn't stand for the things that Mitch stands for and the things that Mitch enables. Every single GOP senator is complicit in everything that Mitch McConnell does. Because if the other Republican senators weren't okay with the things that Mitch McConnell does, it would take 4 or 5 of them, I'm forgetting the other number, I think it might be 4, it's 4 or 5, for them to say, this is not okay, and for them to group up with the Democrats to take Mitch McConnell's ability to kill every bill that comes in front of him away. So, until any of them have a spine and do that, they are complicit in actual everything that he does and enables. And trying to convince yourself of otherwise, just doing mental gymnastics to justify someone who's hurting our country. It would take 4. Look at that. I remember correctly. At one point, I felt like I perhaps wanted to dial back the occasional politics on stream. But then I remembered, after putting some thought into it, that my children have to live in this world that's being left behind. So if talking about important topics on occasion encourages even 1 or 2 people to get out and vote, I will consider that a successful turn on my part. And note there that I said convinces people to get out and vote. I didn't say change anyone's mind, because anybody that still has their nose stuck up the GOP's ass at this point is not changing their mind. They're in it through the racism, they're in it through all of it. Anybody who's still pro-Trump at this point, they're a lost cause. Ignore them. The goal for 2020 is to convince people who otherwise think that their vote doesn't matter, that their vote does matter, and they should get out and exercise that right. My mana is leaky, chat. We should probably look into that. Thanks for the sub, XM. Sometimes you have to refresh your browser page to send the notification through. At any rate, thanks for the support. I appreciate it. All right, so with the land draw here, I can actually bolt plus K command this down. Yeah, obviously I'd be happy with any Democrat, happier with any Democrat than we are now, but I'd prefer not Biden. Any of the progressives would be nice. To put my cards on the table, I've given money to Buttigieg, Warren, and Yang this cycle. Anyone remotely progressive sounds great. I don't know about that, Burgle. I guess that's sure. I don't know. The Teferi's gonna untap their lands, right? So like, I don't know that doing it during their upkeep really changes much. I think Sanders is too old. I think Sanders has a fantastic record, but this is an issue for Sanders, Biden, and Trump. Like, I think that in order for me to vote for anybody as old as Bernie, I need to know who his VP slot is, because Bernie could die of have serious issues from just natural causes while he's in office. So if I liked Bernie's VP pick and it was someone that I trusted to make good decisions like him, yeah, that sounds fine. Even Warren, in my opinion, is close to like she's like 5 or 6 years younger than Biden and Bernie, I believe, and that's still kind of pushing it. It's like, again, the whole natural causes thing. No, I wouldn't mind. I would happily vote for Bernie. I just would prefer, before I really backed his campaign, to know who his VP is, because I'm realistically voting for his VP too, with his age. Yeah, but second term's neither here nor there. We'll cross the second term when we get there. It's not a mistake that, like, past Warren, the other two people I've given money to are Buttigieg and Yang. They're two of the younger candidates. I think we're just boarding similar to how we boarded last time, right? Trim Fatal Pushes, Dead of Winter, an Ice-Fang, and a Bolt. Maybe I'm supposed to leave Bolt in. I don't know. Let's run it. Let's run it. I'm going to leave the Bolt in over the Vraska. This card may or may not be good. He does look like he's 17, doesn't he, Pelly? Yeah, if Bernie was paired with any of the progressives I'd like, I'd be fine with that. My worry is that, like, Bernie could potentially pick someone more conservative than himself for his VP slot to, like, try and balance the ticket. And then in that position, I would not be happy with it. Are we finally going to get to activate Wrenn and Six here? We've yet to activate this Planeswalker in this league. We're 4 matches in. Getting to draw a land every turn, though, sounds great in this control mirror. Didn't get forced. God bless. A Ninja Turtle Jr., thank you for the 12 months support. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. Welcome back. So, I didn't fetch Shock to Thoughtseize here, because my opponent's playing Jeskai. So, like, them burning me out could be a real concern, especially with this Waterlogged Grove hammering my life total here a little bit. So I'm just gonna be a little bit conservative and wait to Thoughtseize next turn. Get to end step, Ice-Fang Coatl here. I mean, you only need to be 35 to run for president of the United States. I think that's not unreasonable. It's 25 to run for the House, 30 to run for Senate, and then 35 to be president. Like 35's not that old. Yeah, it's not remotely old. I like the fact that we have a bunch of people who are like in their 70s running now. That's old. Yeah, Caker QT. Nationalized healthcare and climate change are my number 1 and number 2 issues. I guess better gun control is trailing pretty close with those two, but those are definitely my 1 and 2. No, yeah, it's 35. 35 is very reasonable. All right, we take the source of sustained card advantage here. Yeah, Warren's one of the 3 people I've given money to this campaign cycle. All right, so am I misremembering here? Maybe I think my matches are blurring at this point. Do I have another black source to fetch? I don't think I have another fetchable black source, do I? I don't have another black source that non-Delta can fetch. That's awkward. So I actually can't. I was gonna say, do I snap Thoughtseize here? But I actually can't snap Thoughtseize. It's not a legal play. thought about running for some type of office at some point. Once being a meme runs out. That being said, I've probably said and done enough stuff on stream at various points that, like, it would be tough for me to gain traction, but that could be part of the fun. I actually think that, like, if any of the smaller candidates have a really good chance to break through, I think Yang or Pete are probably the two that I would expect to break through. I think Yang's really good at putting his ideas into Pete too. They're both very good at putting their ideas into a format that resonates with people. That's true. Yeah, he could definitely deepfake me saying just about anything with the right technology. A lot of video evidence, a lot of videos of me. Maybe I was supposed to snap Thoughtseize last turn. I don't know. Op snapped op seems pretty good here. This far out, Burgle, 3% is considered a lot. Just for reference, as a point of reference. You're not wrong, puppy. The distinct lack of the ability to have mouse over interface is huge for this application. Huge drawback. I think I'm just gonna trophy this. And then I just need to, like, try and make sure I don't die to Colonnade beats here. I have another trophy to deal with the next Colonnade, and then Ice-Fang's eventually gonna gain Death Touch. Feeling generous, I don't miss if you said it earlier, but can I donate for something like Mono Black, Rankle, Build Around, next standard? Yeah, build around submissions are open. I ask that you still go through the donation form just so I can confirm cards that seem reasonable. Because not everything's constructed play. I'll probably be accepting most things, but, like, for instance, I don't know what the card text of that card you just referenced offhand. I need to go look it up. So, someone asked if I would ever run for my local congressional district. I actually was looking at that to get a little bit more informed on my semi-local politics. And the district where I actually live right now is super gerrymandered, believe it or not. Believe it or not, like most of the United States, the district I live in is super gerrymandered. And it covers large amounts of very rural Illinois for the most part, because I live kind of on the outskirts of the town that I live in. So it is a heavily, is a pretty heavy Republican district, yeah. The Republican incumbent got, like, 67% of the vote in the last election. Of course, he got, like, over 70% of the vote in the election before that, so maybe change is coming finally. Maybe. But, like, the two major towns, the bulk of the town where I live, and Peoria, which is another town near me, those are gerrymandered out of the district that I'm in. This is a map of my district. This is the majority of the town where I live. This is the majority of the next major town. And this is like mostly farms where it actually covers. Yikes. Alright, this is the keep, I guess. Throw back Cryptic, throw up Kolaghan's command, I think. Force lets us stop the first Planeswalker at least. Actually, and looking at that map again, it looked like Springfield was gerrymandered out of it too. What does gerrymandered mean? That's a good question. So gerrymandering refers to... Did you see how that district I shared, it wasn't a reasonable shape. It was drawn in very specific patterns. So gerrymander refers to drawing districts where people vote for the representatives. So specific parties are more likely to win in some and less likely, or almost completely impossible to win in others. It's a way for you to ensure that the people you like get voted in. There's a lot of good video resources about it for sure. So hopefully the snake resolves and we draw a fourth land. And then maybe this Cryptic Command can drag us back into this game kicking and screaming. A little thick. I've got the dad bod going on. Or fielding me, sure. This is my Death Touch snake. Snake, a snake, oh, it's a snake. Modern this weekend, gonna play Amulet and try to ignore whatever other people are doing. Some more college first, though. Psychology, statistics. Psychological statistics for 13 months, Kyle. If you don't have a Field of the Dead in your deck, you should definitely have a Field of the Dead in your deck, by the way. BT dubs. So, I think I'm supposed to Cryptic Command this. So that way I can K command it. I'm assuming this is going to get like vetoed or mana leaked or something, but then they're not getting a token for it. They're not making the mentor bigger. My result on Saturday was a little bit medium, but the event itself was a lot of fun. I really liked the Saheeli deck that I played. So if they don't have Force of Negation here, we're in a good spot. If they have Force of Negation, we're probably dead. Alright, didn't get Force, step one. Step one, accomplished. We mulligan to 5 this game too. We mulligan to 5 and we force one of their spells on 3. Like I said earlier, I think I would imagine that this type of matchup is pretty good for our deck. We are in a commanding position, yeah. I think that's an apt descriptor. Not a lock to win this, but I think we're definitely ahead at the moment. No, they had 2 cards when we commanded them. Just for reference. Gonna double my clock. What say you? You getting snap snared? That's rude. Logic not sure. Ooh. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to their upkeep here. And during their upkeep, I'm gonna say you discard a card, pick my snack back up. How did I originally get introduced to Magic? My cousin, when we were growing up, was gifted a box of Magic cards from a neighbor who was moving away. And we taught ourselves how to play. Hey, thanks for the 4 months, Matsu. Yeah, modern post Faithless Looting it's a good time. It's actually, it's funny, we were talking about this yesterday. I actually think, was that a good draw? What do you think of that one? I actually think Standard might have more polarized matchups than Modern right now, which is honestly kind of impressive. So, the Blood Moon does make my Assassin's Trophy a little bit worse. Just because it'll give them a basic Plains. Timing out someone with the name Just a Victim feels kind of poetic. Oh, they have basic Plains. All right. Okie doke. Makes my trophy a little better, I guess. Play my creepy boy out here. We're winning this race here at least. Wrenn and Six, Judd. Yep, Wrenn is not cheap. He is an expensive one. Force of Negation probably locks this up. Yeah, they're still pretty far off winning this race, so just gonna go and let that happen. I'm gonna save this force for the first Planeswalker. Yeah, just lucky. For people from other states who are not familiar with how the United States Electoral College works, a vote in a state like Wyoming, for instance, is worth almost 4 times as much because of what percentage their population to Electoral College representation has. It's not a good system. 70 sounds like some FUD. That sounds like a number somebody made up out of a hat. So I'm just gonna force this. It would let them bounce their Snapcaster Mage and draw a card, so that's not ideal. $70 might be in the Senate. Yeah, I would believe in the Senate. And for the record, to a degree, I think having some sort of representation for like the lower represented states is like not completely unreasonable, but they already have that in the Senate. So like giving rural places extra votes in the Electoral College and the presidential election also means they're getting disproportionate representation twofold, which is not okay. This format is so much better after the last ban list update, Sam, and it really makes me hope that maybe they're going to make even more changes than I would like banning Mox Opal and Ancient Stirrings. Yeah, the fact that like the all or none states work too is really stupid. Yeah, your down ticket votes matter a lot. All right, we're 3-1. Modern's probably gonna run a little bit long today, but that's fine. I don't have to be done at exactly 1 o'clock. Something I guess I should be saying today for my regulars, I'm gonna be off tomorrow. So I streamed yesterday morning, so if you didn't catch me yesterday, we did 4 Modern decks yesterday, actually, so those are all up on YouTube, but I will not be live at all tomorrow, Tuesday. Welcome to everybody out there. Thanks for hanging out this morning, by the way. If you're a new viewer, my name is Jeff Hoagland. I stream full-time here on Twitch. I'm here playing Magic 30, 40, sometimes even 50 hours a week. If you're someone who enjoys constructed Magic, this is definitely the channel for you. We play some Modern every morning. We also play some Standard and Arena in most afternoons. As always, I'd love to give a shout-out to my wonderful subs. I wouldn't be here day in and day out without their support, so thanks to all of them for keeping me employed. I'd also like to plug a couple of my sponsors here really quick. The Vitamin String Quartet creates unique instrumental string arrangements of everything from Zelda to Zeppelin, and they would love to underscore your next gaming session. You can find them streaming now on services such as Spotify and Apple Music. InkedGaming.com will love to help you customize your gaming experience using code Jeff12. You can save 12% on custom playmats, mousepads, binders, and bags with them. You can upload your own custom artwork or choose from the wide range of artwork that they already have on their website, such as my own Hoaglandia branded merchandise. CoolStuffInc.com buys and sells a lot of cool stuff, including TCG singles using promo code Jeff5. You can save 5% on Magic, Pokemon, Warhammer, and Yu-Gi-Oh cards with them. So, here's the thing, and this is where I've always been on the subject matter, 26 Lands Later. I think talking about cards like Faithless Looting, Ancient Stirrings, and Mox Opal, and saying these cards are okay because they have a building requirement, I think that's a cop-out, because those cards, nobody is warping their deck to make those cards playable. Nobody's going, oh, I have to play more colorless cards because I'm playing Ancient Stirrings. They're just going, oh, I already play a bunch of colorless cards, so I'm just going to add Ancient Stirrings in because it's a free good addition to my deck. Same thing with Faithless Looting. Nobody's going, oh, I have to put more graveyard value stuff in my deck to make Faithless Looting better. People are going, oh, my deck's already all about the graveyard, so Faithless Looting's a free upgrade. Same thing with Mox Opal. Nobody's going, oh, we need to up our artifact count for Mox Opal. They're going, oh, my deck's already full of busted artifact things. I'm just gonna get to play 2 lands on turn 1 most of the time. The deck building restriction part goes out the window when you actually sit down and think about like how these cards are actually being used. Yeah, it's always weird to me too. The really bad faith arguments that defend the Electoral College, people are like, well, we can't have just a couple of states decide who wins an election. It's like, do you not know what a swing state is? Or are you just being like willfully stupid? Because that's what we call a swing state. There are already a couple of states that decide elections. We call them swing states now. What those people actually mean is they don't want the states that have people in them to decide the elections. I did miss a few subs. Pelly. Liberator Prime is worse than Racking Branch Nymph. I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with you on that one. Lost Axiom, thanks for the 9 months. I appreciate that. Well, the 13 months. Sorry, I was looking at the next one. And Delta, thank you for the 9-month resub. I appreciate you keeping me around. Yikes. I hope we draw a land so we can Golgari Queen this next turn. M. Palupi, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate you taking advantage of that half off September. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Vernash, thanks for the half a year. Look at them all piling in. Happy Monday, folks. I subbed to your channel when I started playing Magic after a 15-year break. Thanks for catching me up. Good to have you here being caught up. I often say people don't quit Magic, they just take breaks. And I think that's very true. We should just unban Chromebox. Yeah, exactly. Nothing could possibly go wrong with that. Plains Privilege, thank you for the 9 months. Fetch land. Oh, I guess I attack with an Ice-Fang Coatl. I'm going to attack with an Ice-Fang Coatl because if they trade for it, I can Fatal Push side. Urkadar, thank you for the 26 months of support. I appreciate it. September does not impact renewals, unfortunately. Yeah, I agree, Jinx. It's such a weird platform for people to have. Like this idea that like the minority rule is somehow functionally better than the majority rule. We're just like dead here, right? Yeah, in fact, I'm just not gonna play against the Urza deck. I'm just gonna go ahead. We went 3-1. We've been playing this deck for about 2 hours, which is a little bit longer than I usually like to do. So let's ramp here a little bit and talk. I feel like if I were to play this again, I would want a better plan against the Urza deck. Like, the game we saw Surgical and hit Surgical to be able to exile their copies of Thopter Foundry, it felt very reasonable. I imagine this deck probably has a tough time against big mana decks. I wonder if Unmoored Ego's unreasonable. That could be a card I could potentially consider in the sideboard. It's like a pseudo graveyard hate card, and it like could also take their Thopter Foundries proactively or something like that. So that would be nice. It's also definitely part of like you kind of have to pick and choose in Modern like what decks you want to beat and which ones you want to lose to, because like very obviously with like Weather the Storm and Pulse of Murasa here, this deck is electing to have a stronger matchup against Burn. So, like, Burn's definitely one of the better decks right now, but it doesn't mean it's going to be the only thing you're going to face. At any rate, this deck was fun. I think mid-range decks like this have a much better shot because there's more people playing them. Like, in a more aggressive format, I think a deck like this would probably really struggle because we don't have that much efficient removal. But in a format where there's more Stoneforge Mystics, more Jund decks, more Jeskai controls, I think a deck like this is a very reasonable choice. Hey, Max Bobbler, thanks for re-upping that Prime Support for the 5th month. Welcome back. I love me some kittens of any kind. Thank you for the 2 months. All right, so we're going to roll along to our second modern deck of the morning. We're going to keep doing 2 modern decks a day until rotation happens, as the plan. We have here some robots with some Stoneforge Mystic. I think the Urza deck is very good. I think if there's a deck in Modern that potentially gives Burn a run for its money in the terms of the title of best deck in the format, I think Urza is it.